Nio here with another Clash Academy series of Valhalla files, Valkyrie and Giants, with a particular focus on massive Dark Elixir raids. As you can see here, my Dark Elixir was quite full before getting my level 37 Queen, and I primarily use this strategy along with the Valkyrie Tornado. Now this strategy relies on Giants, who set up the attack and provide cover fire for both your Valkyrie and Wizards. And of course, no strategy by myself would be complete without the gals in red. Valkyrie bring extra damage per second and more cover fire for your wizards. So your wizards have a tendency to survive quite well in this strategy. But let's take a look at some of my raids here and see how I do it. Let's take a look at this base here and how I would set it up for Valkyrie and Giants. If you look there, I have X's through important buildings to get my Valkyrie to go through that funnel that the base designer there conveniently created. Now I'm going to set up this attack at first by getting a few Giants to distract fire and then a couple of Hogs. And as you can see there, I usually put a couple of Wizards, depending on what I'm looking at, just to clear up some buildings while I'm trying to lure the clan castle. I was raiding mostly in Masters 1 when I made this video, and the clan castles in that particular range are not always full. And that's because how quickly people get raided as soon as they log off. And you look here, I'm taking care of that other important building, getting my Giants, and I'm spreading them out. That's very important. Unlike the tornado video, you don't want the Giants bunching up too bad to avoid splash damage as much as you can. And there I send the Valkyrie in, and I'm going to drop a jump spell right on the between the Dark Elixir and the gold. And that's so that all my units kind of funnel right into there. And as they do that, I'm going to wait for that first Inferno to go down, freeze the other one, and I'm going to plop a heal spell right smack dab in the middle of my attacking forces there. And as I continue to attack there, I'm going to just kind of rip it apart, because both Valkyrie and Giants are very effective with a heal spell underneath them. And because I was able to heal so many units, this is one of the bases I was able to take it all the way to a 3-star attack. Unfortunately, part of a 3-star attack is a little bit of luck, and as you see here, my Giant stayed in front of my Archer Queen, and I just barely get it in there. Let's take another look at a high Dark Elixir raid. And unlike the last raid, this one's going to be more of a split attack. As you can see there, I'm going to clear the sides first so that I get my Valkyrie to go down the center. And I circled one multi-target Inferno, which is always a good thing using this strategy. I start with just a single Giant and a few wall breakers to see if the clan castle's full, and it's not, so I start my whole attack. I spread my Giants out. I put the Wizards behind, use a few wall breakers to get them inside. Unlike with Valkyrie Tornado, you really need to get the Giants in a little quicker, because otherwise they'll die quickly. And now I'm going to send in the Valkyrie, and if you look very closely there, that Archer Tower and the Wizard Tower, because they're close together and there's a gap right before that clan castle, my Valkyrie are going to jump into the core because they are closer to the core than that building that's a little farther away. A lot of times when you have buildings that are packed next to each other like that, the Valkyrie will follow the ring because of their AI and their tendency to go between the buildings. So if you have a ring of buildings like that, look for a little spot where there's a gap, as the Valkyrie are more likely to go forward at that gap. And as you look there, I put a Rage, and I kept that multi-target Inferno frozen, and I quickly demolished that core. Archer Queen cleaning it up, and good loot total there. When using this strategy, be wary of boxy base designs. It's really important that you keep your Giants moving in a forward direction so that they provide cover fire for your Wizards. If your Giants start moving sideways, the Wizards will move up to the walls in the base and quickly get torn to pieces if they start taking fire. And that will severely cripple your offensive power. So in this next raid is a little more unusual because I'm intentionally trying to get the dark elixir. So I'm going to put some forces up the side there. As you can see, the dark elixir, there's two collectors on the one side. And the core there is pretty vacant of defenses, so I'm going to try to, as you saw earlier, I put red lines where the defenses in front of the town hall are, and I'm going to try to get my queen into that pocket because your queen has such a long range that she's pretty effective at just dismantling defenses if she has any room at all. And I'm going to drop a heal spell here. Taking note of infernal coverage is important. Your giants, they're not golems. They don't tank quite as well as golems. But if you put a heal spell under them, they can tank pretty well. As you can see, these are pretty max defenses. And that heal spell does quite a bit of good in keeping them going. And if you look there, my giants, once they clear those defenses on the side, are going to head towards the core. And I just need them to provide some distraction for my wizards and my queen. Again, my queen has such a long range that the small number of defenses there are really quite easy for her to deal with, especially with her ability. And the giants keep the single target inferno occupied there. And then now my queen's pretty much free to just strip that town hall out. If you look along the side there, the Valkyrie had taken those two collectors out. Unfortunately, this isn't a big strategy or composition for a collector raid. The giants and the Valkyrie in particular are much more effective if they're diving into a cluster of buildings. So this was more of a different raid, just as something a little different than the other two. So back to a more typical raid. Again, you're going to see me split up my giants in order to create a runway for my Valkyrie. It's more effective to clear the buildings to the sides of where you want your Valkyrie to go than it is to clear all the outside buildings. By providing that intentional path, you create a lot better guarantee that the Valkyrie will actually go where you want them to. Here you can see me testing to see if the CC is active. Again, in Masters 1, it's actually not that uncommon to find empty CCs because of how fast people get raided. You look there, I'm clearing buildings to one side and then the other, and then I'm going to send my Valkyrie in towards that mortar there and drop my jump spell on top of that elixir. And I actually dropped it a little off to the side so that my Valkyrie go towards the core and not towards the wizard tower. When using the jump spell, you actually want to carefully consider how many compartments you want to open. It's actually not a good idea to open up the maximum number of compartments if it means your units will go a wrong direction. If you look there, I drop a few freezes and a rage and a heal and strip the core out pretty easily there. Unfortunately, this base has really high walls in the core, so once I'm in the core, my units are going to kind of split up and are pretty much stranded there, which is common to a Valkyrie giant strategy. It's easy to get into a square base, but it's hard to get out. But if you have a strong queen handy, you can usually do quite a bit of damage anyway. So I'm going to show you another example of splitting the giants up and using them and the wizards to clear a path for the Valkyrie. If you look here, it kind of looks like it'd be hard to get the Valkyrie to go straight, but since I can spread out my giants and put the wizards behind, I was able to get the brunt of my wizards and my CC troop to go down the center. And in this one, I thought it would be a little bit hard to draw the CC out, so I didn't begin with that. The Valkyrie can sometimes use the clan castle troops to draw them to the core. Sometimes that's almost better than drawing them out. One of the advantages of this strategy is that you can spare the troops to draw out the clan castle without feeling like you sacrifice a significant amount of power. If you look up Godson's Cooking with Valkyrie YouTube video, you can see how one Valkyrie can clear an entire clan castle. And when I find clan castles that are full, I often will draw them to a corner and use a Valkyrie and a few wizards to kill them in basically one shot. If you look here again, I dropped the rage and heal and that core. When you see cores this size, it's really quite beneficial for a lot of Valkyrie strategies. When you have a really segmented core, the Valkyrie and Hogs together do almost better, because the Hogs can compensate for the Valkyrie's rather poor ability to deal with walls. If you look here, I do quite a bit of damage. Again, that core size was just ideal for this strategy. And by using my Giants to clear the left and the right, I ensured that the Valkyrie went down the center. And if you look there, I do 70 some damage to a fairly strong base. So the last clip I have here doesn't have the massive Dark Elixir raids as some of the other ones. But in the opening here, I show how I a lot of times will check the clan castle, a couple of giants, a few wizards to clear outside buildings. I got the wall breakers in there because I wasn't sure if the hogs would be enough to draw the clan castle. It was empty, but as you can see here, those few wizards clear a few buildings. That might be enough to give me 50%. This base is pretty straightforward. I just have that really large compartment into another really large compartment. It's not super hard for pathing. What's not as ideal about this base is the core is more spread out. There's still buildings touching each other, so Valkyrie can take advantage of that. But Valkyrie are really strongest when you're dealing with compact base designs, and they can damage 2-3 buildings at a time. And as I end this video here, one of the advantages the Giants and Valkyrie strategy have without the healers is that you don't have to worry about air defense coverage. You do have to execute the attack fairly quickly, because the Giants aren't strong enough to hold up to high-level town hall defenses for very long. So you do want to take in consideration Inferno coverage if you need to use that heal spell to get your Giants through. But with that, that's the end of my massive Dark Elixir Giant Valkyrie raid. This has been a Death's Door production, and we've reopened our clan Death's Angels if you want to check that out. This has been another Clash Academy series Supercell Forum event. Special thanks to our clan member Valkyrie from Valhalla. He pretty much taught me how to raid like this.